Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 5, Episode 1. Marcus, it's first episode of the year, okay? This is awesome, okay? New year, great year coming up. We're gonna have a better year than 2021, okay? And we're really looking forward to it. And you kind of kicked it off on the right foot, and we're gonna get to that here in a little bit. So, how were your holidays, Marcus?
Good. I had a pretty good time. I mean, it was kind of a mess with regard to, we had intended to go over to Oregon, and that didn't work out because of weather. And then I tried to send my wife flyer there, and of course, with all the flight cancellations, that flight got canceled. So we got her re-registered her, and then that got messed up. They flew her to Seattle, and then they wanted to fly her back east to Spokane and then to Portland. Well, instead, my sister-in-law just drove up to Seattle and picked her up. So anyway, that was probably more information than you wanted, but yeah.
No, I hear you on stuff like that. I mean, it was, yeah. Ours was nice, okay, because, it ended up, well, what we normally go on, there's a real nice restaurant on St. Pete Beach. It's very close to the beach where Ron and I flew, and it has a revolving restaurant down there. Okay. It's open Christmas Day. Of course, Valerie and I decided a little too late to get reservations. So that kind of didn't work out. So what we ended up doing was there's a Chinese restaurant we really like that's about 3 or 4 miles away. So we went there Christmas Day and just enjoyed a real nice, relaxed meal. And then we just had a movie-thon at home, Christmas movie-thon.
Okay, that begs the question, Bill. Was it like in the movie A Christmas Story where they go and the duck head is there when they go to the Chinese restaurant?
No, because we ordered chicken. So no duck.
Yeah, there was no chicken head either. Huh?
There was no chicken head either. So
yeah.
And it was a good place, and it was. It was pretty packed. I mean, a lot of people, it's kind of popular on Christmas Day to do that. And a lot of people go to movies on Christmas Day too. So, but we didn't. We just went back home and we watched movies, and and like New Year's Eve. And this is, and I'm just going to rant on here for just another minute, and then we'll get into stuff. Okay, New Year's Eve. It's like, oh, everybody go. What are you doing, Bill? What are you and Valerie doing? What are you doing? Blah 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 blah. So, well, you know what? We went to our Chinese restaurant again. We went earlier in the afternoon, brought home. We watched like 3 movies. I made it to 12:45. That's when the fireworks stopped. Valerie kind of fell asleep about 11:30 or so. But it's like everybody, oh, New Year's party. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm awake past 11:30 or midnight, it's a miracle anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And all these people are going, all our neighbors, they had a big party at the end of our street. And then up at the clubhouse, they had a party up there. And I was like, no. And it was like $65 a person up at the clubhouse. They were going to serve you, and it was a cash bar with that. They were going to serve you complimentary desserts. And evidently, I don't know if they had a band play or what, but
like $65 a piece.
Yeah.
And all you got was like a little bit of dessert, huh?
Dessert, yeah. And it was a cash bar. And I was like, no.
Well, somebody made money on that deal.
Yeah, so we're going to pass on that. Anyway, Ron may be joining us. I did talk to him a little bit this afternoon. He kind of wrenched his back a little bit.
Right.
Shoveling snow today, believe it or not. He said they got more snow today than they did in the last 3 years combined.
It's a mess. Have you seen the pictures he posted?
Yeah, I saw those. I'm like, holy cow. And that's unusual for over there.
They have more snow than we have here in Idaho. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. I mean, it really is. So hopefully he might join us a little bit later here tonight. But I want to go.
Any snow in Tampa so far, Bill?
No. Actually, they did have snow flurries up in the Panhandle, and Huntsville, Alabama had an inch of snow on the ground. So, flurries in the Panhandle, that's kind of like alarm bells go off in the whole state of Florida.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lookout kind of a thing. But no, we had a lot of high wind, and the temperature really dropped here. It went into the 40s last night. It's going back up into the 80s this week. And I won't tell everybody that Valerie and I on New Year's Day went into the pool and were swimming on New Year's Day. I won't tell anybody that. Okay.
You gotta love that.
Oh my gosh. And well, the heater was off in the pool, but the water was still okay once you got in. But the previous week with Christmas, and then when my kids came down, they had the heater on in the pool. And the water was like bath water. It was so nice. We just really enjoyed it. All right, we're gonna jump into things here.
We're gonna talk about drones.
We're gonna actually talk about drones tonight. And I know before we actually jump into things, let's greet some people. Matt Bagwell's here. Lauren's here. Stephen Ewing is here. Art Code Drone Solutions. Welcome, Artie. Maddie is here. Charles Hatmaker is here. Let's see. Jay Bird is in the house. Johnny Drone Flyer. G-Boy is in the house. Welcome, G-Boy. Who else we got here? Quadcopters and Tech. Let's see who else. Matt Bagwell, Drone Shots. Okay, I think we kind of covered everybody. It's good to see Stephen Ewing. I know he had sent me an email. He's been busy, but it's good to see you, Stephen. And I want to let everybody know before we actually really truly jump into stuff. I mailed stickers this week to those of you. And by the way, Marcus, you, Ron, Matt, Johnny, all going to get stickers. It's coming to you in the mail. So be on the lookout for that this week. I had to mail that separate from the cups. So that's fun. So anyway, first thing we're going to take a look at here. Okay. This unfortunately it's over, but I still wanted to talk about this. This Mavic Air 2 had a huge discount today on Amazon. Okay. Now we're going to go to the article here on Drone DJ. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I thought I had that up. Go ahead and get that back here. All right. Okay, actually, it was on 9 to 5 Toys. My bad on that. But let's go ahead and share the screen here. I mean, this was an absolutely, totally insane deal that they had here. It had regular $799. It's $550. Okay, the offer's expired.
Oh wow, it's done now, huh?
Yeah, it's done. Amazon's currently offering the DJI Mavic Air 2 for $549.99 shipped. Normally $799. You're looking at all-time low of $249 off. It's well below our previous $700 refurbished offering. That's just, Marcus, that was insane. That was absolutely insane.
I'm looking it up on Amazon while we're talking, Bill, just to see.
Well, here this link will take us right there. And here it is, and it's back to $799.
Yeah, $799.
And they said they only have 18 left.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, if anybody was ever looking for a drone, that is the steal of the year right there. That is a phenomenal piece of technology for $550. Holy cow!
Yeah, if anybody got that, please let us know in the chat or email me at Bill the Drone Reviewer. Let us know if you got this deal because it's pretty doggone incredible, Marcus. If I was looking for a drone and I wouldn't hesitate twice for something
totally agree with you, Bill. I mean, no, it does not have a 1-inch sensor, but I can't remember how big the sensor is. I think it's a 1/2-inch sensor on that drone, but it is phenomenal. And it has all of the features, all of those features that we don't have yet on the Mavic 3 are on that Air 2.
Mm-hmm.
Master shots, all of that stuff.
It's all there. And that kind of a price, like I said, if any of you were fortunate enough to go ahead and snag this deal, drop us a line, let us know. I'd love to find out if somebody was an opportunist and got this. It pays to subscribe to that 9 to 5 Toys. So, make sure you guys keep a lookout there because a lot of times they will post things like this. So, one of the other things that I wanted to jump into, and this kind of surprised me, was Skydio 2 has a new drone. It's the Skydio 2 Plus. Okay.
Plus. Everything's plus now.
Plus now. I don't, it's like
or max. It's either plus or max.
Plus or max.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in this kind of caught me by surprise, Marcus. I wasn't really expecting this. What about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just kind of, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was either a new remote, which I guess is kind of close, or it was just a software update. So that's kind of, it was kind of a little bit of both, I guess.
Yeah, and what it is, and we're going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and share this article here. I came across this on Drone DJ today, and the first thing you can see when you look at it are these two new antennas that stick up, and this is, I guess, the major new highlight there. It increases the range, and then it also has a keyframe option. Wanted to see if
that keyframe thing looks really cool to me. I cannot wait to try that out. And that's going to be available as a software update for my Skydio too. So
yeah, that will be great. Now it increases the range to 4 miles, and then the Skydio 2 Plus beacon has an extended range of almost 2 miles. Okay, 4 miles with the drone and 2 miles with the beacon. Flight time improves. Evidently, there's a new battery as well with a 20% increase. It's a new improved flight time of 27 minutes. They're the same design as the old ones and can be used with the old Skydio 2 drone. And then the keyframe option here, which looks really interesting. And that'll be great for you, Marcus, being able to get that on your Skydio 2. Now, the one thing I think that really kind of disappointed me was when I went, and then they also have Skydio Care, which sounds like a good option as well. And of course, there's a video by Billy,
our buddy Billy,
and then DC Rainmaker put out a video as well. They have 3 kits. There's a starter kit for $1,099. There's a sports kit for $1,549. There is a cinema kit for $1949, and then there's a pro kit for $2169. Which really kind of includes the whole thing. But I think the thing that disappoints me, Marcus, and it's right here in the middle of the screen, it's the same controller that you guys had with the Anafi.
Listen, that's not a bad controller. I know it gets a lot of criticism. I don't think the controller itself is that bad. I do wish that they had updated the controller as well as the receiver in the drone, and at least change the technology in that controller. So yeah, I mean, that's probably an oversight. But if you watch Billy's video, you can see he could get about twice as far before he started losing FPV feed, started getting a little mottled on his screen. So it's definitely an improvement. There's no doubt about it. Now, is it enough of an improvement that I'm going to trade in my original Skydio? No, because I'm going to get most of it as it is. If I really want that extra battery capacity, I can buy one of those batteries. It'll work with my drone. But what's really cool, I think, is Skydio is giving us all that firmware update that'll give us those keyframes. And I'm really excited to try that out and see how that works. It's a little different than normal waypoints. If I understand it correctly, you can actually kind of fly the mission and set your points and then, record it and then fly it again to get shots that might be kind of hard to get manually. So
that's good. I mean, that'll be, and you make a good point. And I was going to ask you the question, you already answered it, is, except for the extended range, really, you'll be able to get every benefit in the original Skydio 2.
Right.
With the exception of the range, which, and a lot of people, it's something that they might be interested in. If you were on the fence about getting a Skydio 2, you may want to look at Skydio 2 Plus, but you also may want to find out too if there is the proverbial waiting list. They're going to have a waiting list for this, so who knows?
Yeah, I know you can. The original Skydio, you can just order one and buy it right now. So who knows, Bill? I can't answer that, but
yeah,
it is on their website. So
yeah, it's very interesting at the very least here. The next thing that I really kind of wanted to talk about, and I'm going to go ahead. We're going to the Autel Evo Nano and the Nano Plus. Now I know Marcus has his. And I'm so thankful to have Marcus on tonight because I watched his video. And folks, you need to watch Marcus's video. Okay. First and foremost. All right. He braved the cold and the snow out there to get the video to us, and he did a great job. But, you know, the first thing I'm going to say, Marcus, is, you know, one of the things I can say is, let's say with about, I'll say 90% out of the box, you know, charge it up, firmware updates, all that, it does what it's supposed to do, you know?
It was so refreshing after having flown the little Fimi Mini and the of course, all the Hubsan drama that went on. This thing just actually worked, you know, was able to do all the calibrations, etc. It took off. It just took off and hovered there like it was hanging from a string. It was perfectly stable. The controls, I was immediately at home on the controls. They felt good. Was able to do, you know, some fairly precision work with it. I thought the FPV feed was phenomenal. Had absolutely no connection issues. The only negative things that I can say is I did see a little bit of shakiness, very tiny little bit of jello in the middle of that video. And I don't know if you could see it on your screen, Bill, but you would never see it, I think, if you were looking like on an iPad or something. But if you're on a big screen, particularly a 4K monitor, you look right in the center of that video where I'm going over the school, and you'll see a little bit of shake right in the center.
I did. I see. I had it, and it was good because I watched it on my Samsung tablet, and I didn't see it. So the next day I went over, and sure enough, you know, right when you said when you were going over to school, I could see it. You got to look for it, but it's there. And you know, and I think, and see, this is one of the things I think, unfortunately, you're conditioned to kind of expect this,
to look for it
from Fimi and from Hubsan and all that, you know. But all in all, I mean, I'm telling you, Marcus, you know, out of the box and out of the gate with this, okay, this is good news. This is really good news. Now, one of the other things that I liked is the simplicity of the app too, because it looks very straightforward.
You know, Bill, I've never flown an Autel drone before. That was the first time I'd ever flown an Autel drone. I had never opened that app before that day. And, you know, you saw I didn't stumble around too bad. I was able to find everything, get all the adjustments, do all the calibrations, and get the drone in the air. So, yeah, I thought it worked out okay. I do want to say that, you know, our friend Chad B, he also did a couple of videos with that drone. And I noticed, I looked really hard at his to see if I could see any jello at all, and I see none. So I'm going to attribute what I saw on my video to the fact that I was flying it at very nearly the very low range of the specifications for that drone. Autel says you can fly it at 14 degrees at the low point, and it was 18 degrees that day. So we were right there at the low recommended flight point for that drone. So, you know, you can imagine that those little silicone mounts could get a little stiff, and you might get a little bit of vibration through there that could cause that. So I can't wait till we get a little bit warmer weather and I can get it up in the air again and test that out.
You know, from what I can see from the camera standpoint, I mean, it lives up to its billing. It
looked
really
great
does.
To me, man. I'm telling you. Yeah.
I mean,
there again, that's especially after looking at like some of the Hubsan video and Fimi video and so forth. It just was so refreshing to see nice, crisp, clear video, perfectly in focus. You know,
and you know, that's one thing I was so pleased. You know, I watched Chad's, and then I really wanted to watch yours because I know how you fly drones, and I know you know what to look for and everything. And, you know, with your experience both with Hubsan and Fimi and the, you know, we'll just call them natural disasters from them, you know, and then to come to this, and it's just like, it's a complete breath of fresh air. It really is.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm telling you. So I believe that there is a market for a full featured sub 249 gram drone like this. particularly in Canada and in Europe. You know, you could complain that it's priced a little high, and it probably is. This whole they call it their premium bundle. It sells for $949. You know, for a sub 249 gram drone, that sounds like a lot. But if you think about what you're getting features wise, the sensor and so forth, you know, maybe not so much. And if you're living in an area where that sub 249 is really important, hey.
Yeah. Now, you know, I did some checking, and you know, the good folks at Adorama and everywhere else, it's still, you know, they still haven't really received their stock yet. I talked to OriginalDobo, and he said DroneWorks has been, you know, they should be getting theirs. It should. He kind of thinks, you know, it's going to be within the next week or so. So kind of stay tuned and hang tight, guys, because I know Chad, I know you, and several others who got it already ordered it eons ago, and you know that's why you guys got yours first. And it probably came DHL, right? Am I right?
It did actually.
Okay.
Came DHL, and you know, Bill, their tracking just flew right through. It was, I mean, I know you had issues with your last DHL package.
Yeah.
I can say that I had no problems at all.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. That's good. That is good to hear. And the next thing that in conjunction with this, which is really kind of surprising me, you know, I always take a stop by our good friend OriginalDobo and watch some of his reviews. And I watched the one on the Evo Lite. And I tell you what, to me, Marcus, this is a surprise because I was expecting more of the same. Now, Ken, if you watch his video and if you've known him, everything, like with the Evo 2 and everything, he's not a big fan of the Evo 2 6K. Okay. You know, he is, let it be known about that. All right. However, okay, with the Lite, he was really, he said, of course, he was very careful to say this wasn't a review. Okay. But he did come out and pretty much gave it a glowing thumbs up. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
His only criticism was the fact that you couldn't video in 10-bit color. But other than that, I mean, I think everything he said was good. And it's kind of interesting that I would say its main competitor is the DJI Air 2S, right?
Right.
But the Air 2S has 10-bit. The Evo, or the Evo Lite, guys, these are so hard to remember, these names, does not. However, he, like you said, the night capabilities of that Evo Lite, the way they, well, I'll let you talk about it, the way that they messed with the ISO on there.
Yeah, it automatically, there's a setting when it jumps the ISO up to some gargantuan number, and take a look at the result. I mean, here, and this is downtown Tampa here, okay? And of course, you know, showing it, you know, via live stream doesn't do it justice. And guys, definitely check out Ken's video on this, okay? I'm telling you, if you were on the fence about getting an Evo Lite or getting an Evo or Nano, okay? And I got to say this, okay, with all due respect to the Nano, you know, I would probably get the Evo Lite, and you know, my hand is almost on the buy button for the Evo Lite because of Ken's review. It was very, very good. And like I said, you know, about the 10-bit color, and again, you know, for people who that's important to, you know that going in, you're not going to get that here. But okay, conversely, you know, one of the things Ken said, he didn't have to mess with the settings as far as color was concerned. You know, just stock out of the box, and here it is. And this Marcus, this is probably such incredibly good news about the Evo Nano and the Evo Lite, because that means Autel is now really, again, they're back in the driver's seat. They're back.
They're on the map, and you know, all of the histrionics and everything that we all were throwing up in the air when the delays, you know, delay after delay after delay. They announced it in September, and we couldn't get it. Once you get the drone and you fly it, all is forgiven, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, you know, it's you know, all gone. History. It's just gone. It's just gone. Now, one of the other ones that I was really curious about, and it was great because it came up on my timeline. Of course, I'm subscribed to his channel, Captain Jones, Steve. Okay, he did a review on the Fimi X8 SE 2020.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Now, and I tell you what, I love Steve and I love his reviews. And of course, it's unbelievably cold and snowy. He lives in Ontario. And of course, this time of year, and I'm sure Lauren knows about that and can vouch for that, living out in Calgary. It's just not a pleasant time of year in a large part of of Canada, and we understand that. All right, now, one of the things that I wanted to do was, and this was funny, okay, because I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for this. And again, I do encourage you to go ahead and watch Steve's video. But at this point, I mean, I loved what he did because if you watch the video, and I don't want to show the video because I didn't ask permission, but it had so many micro shakes to it. Steve was saying it looks like it was underwater. Okay,
that was funny as heck. I gotta admit that was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. I was laughing. I was laughing my head off with that.
Yeah.
But the bottom line on this was, he believes he had a defective drone. And one of the things that he found was that there used to be 4, if you want to call it not Velcro, but like foam for the mounts for the gimbal.
I can answer that for you.
Go ahead, Marcus.
That was actually a production update on the 2020 version. There's one less silicone mount in there. That was not a defect. That is the way that drone is built. They started that midway through the production run on the 2020 version, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but he clearly there's a problem with his gimbal. But Fred at ADK Drones, I don't think his was quite as bad, but he definitely had jello in his 2022 as well. So
yeah, and that kind of remains to be seen. Now, one of the things I wanted to do was just briefly go over, what the update is from, why is it? Because if you look at them side by side, okay, it's like you can't tell the difference between the 2020 and the 2022. I mean, there's really physically, the box. I mean, show was showing the box is the same, everything. All right.
Right.
Okay. Now here's, and he did list it here. Wind resistance is increased to level 8, which is good. I mean, that's a fairly big deal. Max altitude increased to 800 meters. That doesn't really mean a whole lot to us. Communication protocol changed from 2.4 gigahertz for 10 kilometer range increase. Latency reduced to 130 ms. Ability to fly in rain and snow, which is nice. 79-degree field of view on camera, wider than before. Camera aperture now f1.6 for night shooting, which is good. ISO now 100 to 6400 for night shooting. And CMOS sensor increased to 1/2.0. Okay. Now, it is listed out on Banggood, and currently it is a good price. It is at $449. And they're saying in stock, ships in 24 hours. And it says to Florida, if I were to order it today, it'd be here anywhere from the 15th to the 20th of the month. So that's pretty reasonable in terms of shipping and the price. The price looks good too.
Listen, you had one, Bill. You had the 2020 version, I believe.
Right.
And I've got both the 2018 and the 2020 version of this drone. And listen, I always enjoyed flying both of them. I was never, ever happy with the camera on the 2020 version. In fact, I like the 2018 version a little bit better. Now, the big improvement on the 2022 version is the camera. So in 2022, did they get it right? If you got one with a good gimbal, that camera looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good buy right there. But the problem with this whole thing is it's kind of a crapshoot. Are you going to get a good one or are you going to get a bad one? If you got a good one, it's a good buy. If you got a bad one, it's just like Captain Drone said. He goes, you probably heard that part where he says, I emailed them their support and they wanted me to send them a video. And he said, here's your video.
Here's the video. Well, he hit the nail on the head, when he said, and and I'm preaching to the choir here. You and your exploits with a Fimi X8 Mini. All right. And now for me, I lucked out because I thought I probably had one of the good ones. All right. Because I didn't have the problems you had. It pretty much out of the box did what it was supposed to do. And I was fairly pleased with it. Okay. Did I get I was not impressed enough with the video quality, however, to kind of keep the drone because I wanted something that had a little bit of a better video quality. And, I would say this, okay. And Marcus is right. You're kind of taking a crapshoot with this, but, if it has that kind, if you're going to get the camera on it, and Steve kind of did it when he tested it. And I encourage you guys to watch his video because what he did was, he did a side-by-side comparison. He held both drones up and, he was walking around with both drones and, and kind of compared them side by side. And you can definitely tell the difference in the camera quality in the video. He was out kind of having to hold on to the gimbal.
He literally had to hold the
gimbal. I was just, that was just Marcus. I was just cracking up watching him holding on to the gimbal like that. But seriously, comparing the video from the 2022 to the 2020, it looked pretty doggone good.
Worlds of difference.
I was impressed. So, if you're willing to take a crapshoot, I would say go ahead and do it. And at the very least, Fimi support, and I will say this about Fimi, out of all the support in contacting them, okay, they actually have responded to me every single time I've inquired with them. Now, of course, I actually had my original Fimi X8 SE 2020. I had it replaced because I was having an issue with the with the signal interference, and ended up
Did they make you send them a video, Bill?
No, they didn't actually. Okay, I sent them a log. They wanted a log, so I sent them a log, and they determined after looking at the log, to pack the other one up, send it back, and they were actually fairly fast. I got a new one within 10 days, which really that kind of impressed me, is how fast they were. So, I say for me, I've actually had good experience with Fimi customer service. So I would say go ahead and take the crapshoot. I mean, it's only $449. I mean, that's a pretty doggone good price for that drone. And with the capabilities of that camera. Now, one of the things I do want to let everybody know, it's not 4K 60. It only does 4K 30. But, okay, be that as it may, this isn't a drone for, professionals are not, if you're a professional, you're not going to be using this drone, okay? But if you want to get some good, solid video, from what I've seen so far, this would be a drone I would recommend. So,
yeah. Hey, I just heard from Ross Langdon. He just messaged me on Facebook, and he is saying that he feels like that 10-bit color is going to come with a firmware update on the Autel Lite.
Oh, on the Lite. Okay, that's real good. Thanks, Ross, for that information. That's awesome because that comes with that. That makes that a complete package, Marcus. And I think the price is about $1,100 on the Evo Lite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'd have to go on the website. I haven't paid a lot of attention to that one, Bill. I'd have to go look.
I think it was about $1,100, $1,200, somewhere in that kind of ballpark around there. But that would, that comes with that. That's going to make that. That's really going to kind of like turn some heads with that one. So, and again, I invite you to watch OriginalDobo's video on the Evo Lite. And I also invite you to watch Captain Drone's video on the Fimi X8 SE 2022. He's actually probably the first one, I think, in North America that has gotten one and reviewed one.
I think Fred had it first, 80K drones.
80K. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned it. I didn't even see his. Okay. Steve's come popping up in my line. I'm like, oh, I need to watch this. This is going to be good. And it was. And Steve also said in his video, and this kind of blows me away, Marcus, he reviews 100 drones a year.
I can relate.
That just kind of blew me away. 100 drones a year. I was
that sounds like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, and some of the, is our good friend Brian Singleton probably, some of them are trash can worthy probably,
Well, trust me, I've got a few of them next to me over here. Yeah. Of those, if I think about it, Bill, I probably do 25 or 30 a year. I'll bet.
You're probably right.
Count. Yeah.
You're probably right. I got a couple of them coming. I got a couple Holy Stones coming, and we'll get them and we'll review them. And
yeah, and one of the things that people don't, well, I say that as a general broad statement, but one of the things you may not realize is that you get one of these drones, and it's even harder on some of the lower price drones because they all operate differently. And so you really have to educate yourself on how to fly the drone before you ever make the review. And then, you do the review, and especially those lower price drones, inevitably there's problems. There's problems, and you have to work through them to get the thing in the air, to get the camera to work, et cetera, et cetera. So those drone reviews, and like I said, those little bargain drones, it's harder to do a review of than like a Mavic or an Autel, where they actually work.
Yeah, because with those, and I know exactly what you're saying. It's a crapshoot. Once you put it together, is the battery going to charge up? And the battery charges up, is the remote working? And if the remote, because I had a real nice drone, and I had to end up, I just did the Brian Singleton thing, and I deep sixed it because I could not get that thing to link up. It would not. I mean, the controller lights would come on, the lights would come on the drone. It would not sync. I followed all the directions. I looked everywhere. I even went out to Quadcopter 101, and he had it. And I think I emailed him, and he said, "Did you do X, Y, and Z?" I said, "Yep." And he says, "Well, it's just," and I said, "I'm done," because I emailed who sent it to me. I never got a response back, and I said, "Fine, I'm done." And unfortunately, it's like that with a lot of those drones. I mean, that's just that's you have to take the good with the bad, and it's a love for doing this. I mean, it really is. And I'll tell you what, people like Marcus, people like Steve, they have a gift to be able to do this, and and to do it well enough, time in and time out, to not get too discouraged, because you know what you're expecting. Okay, there's no really, you're not going to be surprised. You know what I'm saying, Marcus?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just trying to do the calibrations on some of those drones can just be such a challenge, and they're all a little different. So
yeah. Oh yeah. What I wanted to kind of, this is a segue to the last part of the show, is what drones are coming in 2022. And being this is the first episode of 2022, I thought this would be a good time to kind of talk about this. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is this. All right. One of the things that I think everybody's expecting is the Mini 3. Okay. And it will, oh yeah, it'll get here. I can guarantee you that. All right. And, and I'll tell you what, and I go back to Marcus. I also goes back to Chad, because I watched Chad's video too on the Nano Plus. And, it's refreshing to see people be able to get a drone up in the air. And you know what? You're not having those core problems of stability, and, the gimbal's all wonky and everything, being able to get it up in the air and get it to go, and get it to go well. So, it's kind of refreshing, and it's also good, I think, for DJI, because, competition is really good, Marcus. And it's so good to see Autel having some success with this. This is really very encouraging to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me tell you. So, let me pull this guy out of the bag here for a second. And by the way, pretty good. I like their little kit here. It's pretty good, and it's got this strap that kind of well, hold it up here so you can see it. That kind of holds the drone.
Oh, okay.
But get it out of here. Bill, do you think for 1 minute that DJI is sitting on their hands right now and going to let Autel grab all the glory with all these sensors and all the capabilities of this drone? They are not.
No,
let me tell you where that Mavic 3 is going to shine. Will it have any more features than this one? Who knows? But what it will have, I guarantee you, I'll bet it'll be a couple $100 cheaper. I'll bet you.
You're probably right. And I think that's where, and see, this is the thing, because, economies of scale, and you also look at marketing and research and development and everything. And DJI being such a large company, it's easier for them to get to the point to mass produce something like a Mini 3 than it is for Autel to do that. Okay. And Autel has to spend more money. Hence, because of that, you're going to have an increased price for your drone.
Yeah, I was impressed with the interview with Maxwell Lee that was on Thursday Night Live. He's I can't remember what his title is at Autel. He's the owner's son, so I know his title is way up there. But he was very well spoken, and one of the things that he said that I thought was really interesting about Autel was that they're an engineering company first, and the engineers work on products like this. And it's not the sales and marketing guys telling the engineers what to make. It's the engineers making the product, and then they tell the sales and marketing guys, this is what you have to sell.
That's a good point. That really is, because, when you, depending, when you have that driving, that's kind of like the opposite of a lot of companies. And I think it's good for Autel because of the size of their company. And they need that. They need a real good, clear focus. And I think they've had that. And, and I hope they are able to get this product out in mass quantities to people, because it's going to really just benefit everybody.
But Bill, you just said a mouthful right there, because if they have problems getting them delivered to folks, that'll just kill them. I mean, it won't help. So let's hope. And we've all said it from time to time. Competition is good. We love our DJI products, but we also want Autel to be successful, because they're pushing DJI to do better. So
yeah, oh yeah, and like you said, Frank Wang and company at DJI are not resting on their laurels. They probably have a prototype of the Mini 3 ready to go, and are probably doing some trial testing within the company itself.
Hell, prototype, hell, I'll bet you that the manufacturing is already going full steam. They probably have a warehouse half full of them right now, Bill.
Probably right. And the wonderful thing, like you said, about this, when it comes out, it will be less. And I think that's a key. I think that's important, and that's going to attract a lot of people. I don't know. I don't foresee the feature set on this, because, it's really hard. You have one huge constraint there is 249 grams. Okay. So you got to pack a lot of punch in that small box. All right. And, they're always able to do more and to do better each year because of the chips and the semiconductors and everything. And, and Rick Smith, talked about it, one of the things that he talked about a lot was the batteries, and how, you have to deal with that certain, you can only do so much in that given space with the technology that's available. Well, that's gotten better as well too. So, I don't know if it's going to, I can say this, I'll say this, and I'll be fairly safe. It will be equal to the Nano Plus, or maybe have one or two additional features. And I think where the focus is, Marcus, and I think it's easier for them, is that these features are going to be software driven, so it doesn't add any weight to the aircraft, but the capabilities will already be there in the aircraft to enable that. And it will be some things that probably Autel doesn't have. So kind of stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, and I think, I remember a while back they said DJI is engineering and building their own batteries now. So what you could see is improved battery life. One of the things that Maxwell Lee said about this drone in particular is he said, by the time, because people always ask about battery life. And he goes, to get a powerful enough processor in here to run all this stuff, he says it's going to use a certain amount of juice. And so there was a limit to how much flight time they could build into the drone. That's something that DJI, because they build their own batteries, could probably maybe improve on. I want to touch on, Stephen Ewing had a question there about the build quality. So I want to answer that. This is probably every bit as good of build quality as a DJI drone, if not better. It's very, very solid.
I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. And one of the other things that I kind of want to bring this up because I know Lauren kind of like hemmed and hawed when I was talking about this, but I think we're going to be seeing this year, Marcus. And let me put it to you this way, okay? I think for what you're going to have to pay for an Inspire 3, I think you could probably go to an automobile dealership and buy a car, okay? Because I think it's getting into that kind of a range.
You could probably buy about 30 of these or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because and this is just off the top of my head. I'm seeing like the base unit without camera or any bells and whistles is probably going to run at least 10 grand. And by the time you add cameras and batteries and case and all that stuff, you're going to be over $20,000 easy on that drone. Okay.
Right.
So, but that's going to come this year. And then people, there's going to be an incredible sticker shock with that. But you know what I say? With incredible sticker shock, that means there's incredible features. Okay. And it's, and it was one of the things with the Mavic 3. People were really balking about the price and everything. And I'm saying, look, guys, with that incredible price comes some incredible features.
Right. Yeah. And of course, Ron always says, hey, listen, everything is going up in price too. So really, remember we had sticker shock on the Mavic 3 recently. I think a little bit of, no doubt, sticker shock on a drone like this. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fact of life right now.
Yeah, it's we've all we're all aware of supply chain and things that are going on with that, and we're all aware too that these chips and these semiconductor chips, we're driving a large part, for example, the automobiles, and then we got to see, unfortunately, what went on with, and I'm on a Facebook page or a Facebook group, a Corvette group, and was following what happened to the plant down there after the tornado hit it and how they had to, Marcus, I almost wanted to cry, them having to destroy all those Corvettes.
Let me tell you. Oh yeah, I was in tears too. I'll tell you who's really in tears, Bill, is the guys whose names were on those Corvettes, and they were
113 or so people.
Yeah,
oh my God. I feel like, oh my gosh, that's just absolutely crazy. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about as well tonight, to kind of like wrap things up here, is for me, and we've kind of touched on this before, and I think this is kind of, remember all the Kickstarter programs and, how a lot of products got started on Kickstarter programs and, they became successful and people ended up, it's really, crowdsourcing, you're funding, you're paying for something and you're not getting it kind of a thing yet, and I encountered this, for there's a radio control plane that, Motion RC is coming out with, but it's not available until March. They announced it probably like about 3 weeks ago, and it's $600. But in order to get the plane, in order to get first in line, you got to pay for it now, kind of a thing. And I'm like, whoa, and here we go again, and it's just like we're kind of conditioned to this. Not with DJI. Obviously, they don't do things like that, and to a more or less. I'll say Autel, not 100%, but, places like, Hubson and Fimi, you kind of see that a lot with them.
And I think it's a purposeful thing, Bill.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
And I think, there was some discussion about, oh, well, we could not pre-order and, kind of teach them a lesson kind of a thing. Well, that's nice. But you know what? Let's say you get 100 people and, and all 100 people say, we're not going to go ahead and do that. Well, you end up getting 5 rogue people are going to say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and order it,
Right.
So you won't have 100% solidarity with something like that. That's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, no question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to answer that one, Bill, exactly, because, you get excited about a drone and you want to get it as soon as you can. So that's why you pre-order. But I'm totally on board with what you're saying. It certainly isn't right.
Because I know you and I know me and I know Ron and everybody. That green stuff doesn't grow on trees. Okay, we've earned that money, and I'd like to think we're wise when we spend that money. But how long have we had money out there? And I'll just basic economics. There still are, believe it or not, there still are some banks that where it's a minuscule amount, but you can still get some interest in a savings account, kind of a thing. I'm just like, this is just one of those things. It's just, it's so hard to do, but then again, it's so easy at the same time because, I've done it before, you've done it before, Ron's done it before, and we'll continue to do it. But it's just like, you think about what's behind all of this and how, the Hubsons and the Fimis get their drones out. A large part is due to us.
Yep.
We help them out a great deal with things like that. There's no answer to that. I'm just kind of like bringing this topic up, kind of a thing. I just don't have any answers for something like that, Marcus. I really don't.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything, and this is one of the other things I wanted to talk about in 2022. I really don't see anything else on the horizon, especially like from DJI, because, they've really covered the gambit on gimbals, that new camera system that they came out with. They may do something agriculturally with drones or, professional drones, something along those lines. But I don't see anything in the consumer space other than a Mini 3 for them this year.
Yeah, there's rumors of a Pocket 3. So I don't know where that fits in your workflow, Bill, but that's probably not something I'm terribly interested in.
Yeah.
Drone wise, there's some talk of a mini FPV drone. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be coming because that has actually caught on, and and I'm going to say this, DJI's FPV drone, it's kind of a mixed bag of reviews. It's kind of like you either hate it or you love it, kind of a thing.
I haven't even taken it out of the box yet.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna though. The weather's been so bad. I can't wait to fly it.
Yeah, that will be fun. That will be a good experience.
Yeah.
And the one thing I have to say about that is, it looks great. It's a great looking drone, and I think it what it's supposed to do, it does it well. But those drones have a tendency. And it's just inherent to that kind of flying to crash a lot, and it does. It just, to me, it doesn't look really crash worthy. You know what I'm saying, Marcus?
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing is, I don't think they designed it for guys that kind of want to get that speed and feeling of flight of an FPV drone, but I don't think it's made for doing kind of those acrobatics that you see with a lot of the I was going to say home built, but that's not even fair because a lot, they're engineered. You do have to assemble yourself, I guess would be a better way to say that. And those guys build those so that they can take a beating, carbon fiber frames and stuff. And of course they're ready to repair them. I'll never do that, Bill. That's not what I'm interested in. And I don't think you are either. But what I am interested in is, boy, the speed of a drone like that. Absolutely. And that feeling of flight. So I can't wait to get it out and try it out. Hopefully we'll get some decent weather here.
I was going to say that will, that'll be very interesting, and I'll look forward to watching that. But for me, okay, and I know the way I am visually and the way I my perception and everything, I can't do it. It's not going to, it will not work for me.
I worry about the goggles a little bit, Bill. I can tell you this, that when I was at Spin Up, I got to do a couple of ride-alongs and borrow some DJI goggles. And I rode along with Doc Murdoch, and I rode along with Alderan on a couple of their flights with the goggles. And you know what? It looked pretty good. And I got this weird googly eye. In fact, I'm going to the eye doctor in a couple of days here. They're going to do some surgery. Yeah, I mean, so that's my concern too, I guess is what I was trying to say, is that the goggles, are they going to be an issue or not for me? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be interesting. I'll look forward to, hopefully the weather will break and you can get out there and test those. That's going to be real interesting here. You know, I kind of want to close things up. I want to thank everybody who let me put you this way. Just about everybody got mugs. I got some mugs sent out. The first batch has gone out to people. The second batch will be going out probably a little bit later this month. It's called Cash Flow. Okay. So, but they're coming directly from the manufacturer. And thank you to those of you that have gotten them and let me know that. I appreciate that. And as OriginalDobo says, you know, that coffee that coffee tastes pretty doggone good out of Bill, the RC reviewer mug. So
that was awful nice of him to take really time to do that, wasn't it?
He's awesome. I had a chat with him on Twitter the other day. He's just one of the most incredible people, real down to earth people you'd ever want to meet. And I just love hanging with him and spending time with him. And I told him, I said, we need to get together, and we do. That's kind of it for tonight. Marcus, you have any closing thoughts here?
You know what? We're all got some weird weather going on, so it's kind of tough to get out there and fly unless you live in Florida. But if you can, get out there, fly what you got.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of the same for me. You know, we're going to be back up into the 80s, and it's going to be nice. And I'm looking forward this weekend. I want to get out and get my get the Mavic 3 up, and I'm really itching to do that hyperlapse, and I'm going to get some low light shots with the hyperlapse is what I'm looking forward to in testing that out. I'm really kind of anxious. It's like, you know, been in, you know, the holiday cycle and everything, and you know, it's just, you know, trying to find time. You know, we had my kids and granddaughter down, then Valerie's family was over for Christmas, and then, you know, we got to spend some time with them, and then, you know, my father-in-law, he's doing better, but he was in the hospital, and you know, it's just been, you know, our time has just been, you know, it's just been absolutely positively crazy. So finally, you know, I'm going to get some time this weekend. I'm going to carve some time out and get that done.
You know what's cool about that Mavic 3, Bill? Like one of the coolest things about it is you and me are going to be flying that drone for years.
Oh, I know.
And DJI is going to be their flagship drone for years, and they're going to keep pushing improvements out there for us. And so
that will be,
you know, there's all a lot of haters for that drone, but I'm telling you, until you fly one, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, I agree. You know, on the aerodynamic, you know, and one of the things I want to say before we wrap things up here is one of the things that really impresses me is the aerodynamic capabilities of that drone and actually how it flies. You know,
never any prop shadows, never
prop shot, never props in the shots.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm, you know, in sport mode, I was really impressed with the stability of the gimbal in sport mode. I mean, that thing was just like rock solid. And I'm just like, okay, folks, you know, when you say, you know, when I say you get what you pay for, you do get what you pay for. Okay. This thing was just, it's golden. And again, I'm very fortunate because I got one. You know, a lot of people had some Horizon issues and stuff. No issues with me, none. So
good.
That's it for tonight. Wishing our other co-host Ron Brown healthy recovery from shoveling snow. I know he kind of tweaked his back here a little bit. We're thinking about you, Ron, and hope you get on the mend quickly and get that taken care of. And that's not a fun thing going through that. That's for sure. But you know, this is the first episode of the year. We got a great year coming up. There's going to be a lot of great, cool stuff coming out. There'll be great firmware updates for the Mavic 3. Looking forward to what Autel has. CES is coming up. I mean, that's like, I know Ken just flew out there. So that's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes down. So anyways, thank you everyone and all for showing up tonight. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And as always, it's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night.